What's up, YouTubers? Welcome back to Redline Junkies. My name is Daquan. Today is a requested video from Instagram about the details of my aftermarket audio system that I installed in my Hyundai Elantra. So without further ado, let's get into it. So guys, like I said, today is details about the aftermarket audio system that I installed in my Hyundai Elantra. So first, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you where all the items are for each part of the audio system in the Hyundai Elantra. Then I'm going to do an outside audio test, and that audio test is going to include all the hatches open first, standing in front of the car. Then it's going to include all the hatches closed and standing in front of the car, and we'll see what the difference is in the audio. So guys, let's get into it. Let's start with the driver's side. So guys, these are the two speakers. It's a 6-speaker premium audio system. These are the two speakers in the driver's door. This is the one speaker in the back door. So it's 3 speakers on each side. They're identical on the other side, as I'll show you later. Then we go to the trunk. And excuse the trash back here. This is the subwoofer that gives you the bass, and we'll get into more details later, but I just wanted to show you the placement. So now guys, we're gonna get into the outside audio test with all the hatches open. I'm gonna go on the passenger side and open up the same doors. Now, like I said, the speakers are identical on both sides. So there's 3 speakers on this side. These are the 2 speakers right here. And this is the speaker back here. Now, these are the placement in my car. Every car has speakers in the doors, but some have speakers in other places. Mine is just 6 speakers, and this is where they decided in this car to place those speakers. So guys, let's get into I'm gonna choose Brass Monkey by the Beastie Boys to do the audio test, and it's a random song. I didn't even hear this song before today. I did a random Google search what the songs that people use to test the audio systems. So first, I'm gonna turn it up to 20. The audio system goes up to 45. I usually do 16 or 20 volume, and we'll see what it sounds like with all the hatches open. Now guys, always come to the front of the car. To be honest, I did not know you come to the front of the car when you listen to your audio system, but this is what people hear when you are driving towards them. And I guess, you know, when you go to the back, that's what people hear when you're backing up towards them, which I don't know why you would be doing. But as you can hear, I don't know how well you guys can hear that, but you can hear the audio system. That's 20 out of 45. Like I said, I don't usually turn it up higher than 20, and that's usually only when the windows are down and I'm going highway speeds. So now guys, we're gonna go and close all the hatches, and then we're gonna see what the difference is in audio. Now, I don't know how well you guys can hear that. I still can hear it, but it's definitely not as great as when the hatches are open. Usually when people are premiering or showing off their audio system, they do have the doors open. I didn't get the premium audio system because I wanted everybody else to hear it. I just wanted to hear it better when I was driving highway speeds and the windows were down. So guys, like I said, next we're gonna go into the details of the specifics of the audio system. How much it costs, the individual parts, where you can get these parts, if you would self-install or get someone to install them, what specifically I did, and I think that's it. So guys, without further ado, let's get into that. All right guys, so we're gonna get into the nitty-gritty of the aftermarket audio system that I installed in my Elantra. I'm gonna first tell you about the stock factory installed system. Now, all this information I did research on, I by all means didn't know anything about this audio. I didn't even know anything about my aftermarket audio system. I just paid for it and said it sounded good. So first, Hyundai puts and it's called Infinity Harman premium audio system in my car. My car was top of the line when I bought it. There was no trim higher, and that's what I mean by top of the line. It's 6-speaker premium audio system they call. I looked into this audio system, and it's by a company that they said was based in LA. Infinity Harman audio system, 6 speakers in my car. The system altogether, if you had did it yourself, was about $1,000. Now for me, $1,000, people have always taught me that stock factory audio systems were never as good as aftermarket. Usually the case in most of my experiences. It was $1,000. Now I'm not saying that $1,000 wasn't well spent, but the audio system was trash. To really hear it, like I said, the system goes up to 45. I had to turn it to at least 30. And when the windows were down, I had to turn it to at least 40. That's where I was saying the audio system was trash. So that was the stock, and it did not come with a subwoofer, so there was no bass whatsoever in this. So that was the stock audio system, and I'm reading the notes off of here because there's so many details that I did not know about this audio system. Now let's start with my audio system. So guys, like I said, we're gonna get into my actual aftermarket audio system that I paid for in my Hyundai Elantra. First, we're gonna start with the speakers. Now there's two parts of the speakers. There's the 2-speaker ARC, and it's called, the speakers that I personally have in there are ARC, A-R-C 602 6.2 speakers. And there's 2 parts that I found to those speakers. It's the components that include the tweeters, which are 2 little speakers that help with voices and how clear the voices come through. And then there's actually the speakers themselves, which most of the audio comes through. Now, those two components together make up the speaker audio system. Then you have the amp, which puts power to it. You can't use, I wanted my audio system to work with the stock touchscreen and everything that worked in with my car. I did not want to pull any of those out and put an aftermarket thing in there. I just wanted everything to work with that. So you have an amp to supply more power to those speakers. Now my amp, I'm going to get into the specs of all of this. My amp is more powerful than what the speakers can actually put out, so I can actually upgrade my speakers to get better speakers out of there. For what the shop had, I got the middle ground. There was one set of speakers higher. I just got the middle ground. They sound perfectly fine to me. Then you got the 12. I didn't have a subwoofer in that premium audio system. I got a 12 subwoofer for the bass. Now let's get into the specs. Back to the specs of this audio system. Back to the speakers. My speakers, like I said, is ARC 602 6.2 channel speakers. The components and the speakers themselves together. Let's read off this, what he charged me. The components charged me $500 for the components, and that's including the labor. And then for the speakers themselves, he charged me $400. Then for the 12 inch in diameter, that's where you get the 10s, 12s, and I don't really know the others. He tried to sell me a 10, but I went with the 12. 12 inch in the diameter, he charged me $450. And then for the adjustable, I have a unit in the car up under, I didn't show it, up under the driver's side that I can adjust the bass. It's literally just a dial, left or right, plus or minus how much bass I want in there, and it can be turned up. Mine has been turned down. And then the subwoofer. No, I already mentioned the subwoofer. I'm sorry, the Sony amp. It's an XM GS4 4-channel 700 watt amp. Like I said, my amp is putting out way more than what my speakers can take. I can upgrade my speakers. I probably won't, to be honest, because it sounds perfectly fine the way it is. But my system came out to, with a $165 discount, came out to $1,900. Then I got what is called sound dampening, which I can't show you because it's within the panels of my car, and that was an extra $400. It pretty much keeps the system from, when you have bass, shaking, so you don't hear like a vibration when you turn up your bass. Now, all that system together, $1,900 plus $400 is over $2,000. And that's installed, labor, everything over $2,000. It's actually $2,340 that I paid, including 7 hours of labor. And I had to drop my car off, 7 hours of labor to get it installed. So, $2,300 for all of that. Let's get into what it would cost if I just bought the parts themselves and installed it myself. It wasn't much of a difference. I think that the extra money was spent well. I didn't have to wait with the car, and I didn't have to install it myself or find another installer that would do it cheaper. So the speakers themselves and the components, $300 for the components, between $250 and $300 for the two speaker set. Then you got the amp, between $220 and $250. Then you got the JBL GT Bass Pro 12-inch in diameter subwoofer with the slipstream 230 to 280. And I took the highest amounts to 250 to 280, 300 and the 300, and that's about $1,600, $1,590. So you're looking at about $750 to $800 difference to get it installed by someone else, and possibly more than 7 hours of labor, depending on if you know how to install it, or how good you are, or how good the installer you're using. I think for me personally, I think it was that $750, $800 was well spent to get somebody else to install it. Great system, haven't had any issues. To be honest, I did have one of my speakers blow out, but it was because the amp was putting way more power to the speakers than the speakers could take. Took it back to the shop, not gonna mention the shop. He turned it down, and I haven't had any issues from it since then. Great customer service. Now, like I said, that's $1,500, $1,600, round that, and $2,340. Let's just round that to $2,300. Like I said, I think the extra money was well spent. That's just my opinion. Now the other and then also on top of that $1,590, you do have to worry about the wiring components, the materials that you need to install that, the modifications to the vehicle. He had to modify my seats to put the amp in. The amp goes into the back of the subwoofer, and I don't think all of them go into the back of the subwoofer, but the amp goes on the back of the subwoofer. I did not show that in the video because I would have had to pull the subwoofer out and move my seats, but he had to modify the vehicle to install all of that. So you're looking at actually more than $1,600 really to get that installed. So like I said, I think that the extra $750 to $800 was well spent. Now I'm gonna go back to the subwoofer, and I'm gonna post a picture above while I'm talking about the subwoofer to show you exactly what I'm talking about. But if you remember when I showed you the subwoofer in the trunk, there was a silver piece and it had Slipstream written on it. Now some of the features of the subwoofer is a slipstream, and that slipstream is literally so that you have distortion free. No matter how far you turn the audio up, you have distortion free in the audio that's speaking and just the regular audio. Now the amp has three things that I want to highlight. The Sony XM-GS4 4-channel 700 watts amp. It has crossover, it has bass control, and it's bridgeable. Now I'm gonna pull out my phone to tell you what crossover and bridgeable mean. I did not know by all means what that meant, but bass control, pretty much you can just control the bass, turn it up and down how you want it. Now let's go into the crossover, and I'll pull up Google here. Now Google states crossover serves as a filter that blocks out unwanted frequencies to a speaker or group of speakers. This is extremely useful because it allows us to specifically send each speaker the group of frequencies that it will play most efficiently and effectively. So your audio will come even more crisp and clean through there, and that's what you want in your audio system. Now bridging, heard of it? Did not know what it was. Google defines it as bridging an amplifier refers to the process of combining two of four channels into one or two channels with half the ohms. And ohms is how they measure the sound. The technique has become very popular among many car owners because it allows amplifiers to send out a more powerful mono signal to the subwoofer or speakers. So you can get more power out of it by bridging. Now guys, like I said, I've hit all the components. I've showed you all the components of my channel, my aftermarket audio system that I put into my Elantra. I've showed you the speakers, both parts of them. I've told you about the amp. I've told you that powers the whole system, and I've told you about the subwoofer that gives it the bass. And by all means, you can mix and match these parts. I got a JBL subwoofer and a Sony amp, and then my speakers are by ARC. You can mix and match these how you prefer. That's just the setup that my guy specifically put for me. I think it works perfectly fine, and like I said, you can install these yourself, or I don't know anything about audio, so that's why I paid someone to do it. Think it was well worth the money. Haven't complained since I got this audio system. Sounds amazing on the highway when my windows are even just cracked with the windows down, or with the windows all the way down, all windows. Like I said, I told you all of that. I told you about my original audio system in there. If you guys want to know anything more, the guy that requested this on Instagram, if you want to know anything more about it, definitely comment below, let me know, ping me, as you usually do. I know you're working on your Elantra. If you want to go specifically what I did, do it, bro. Or if you want to do something else, do it. It's all different things out there. My system's kind of an older system from the research I did. It's been out for a while. They definitely have updated stuff. But as usual, guys, like, subscribe, support the channel. And if you guys have any more requests, definitely let me know. And I'll see you guys next time.